Are you so ready to experience your fifth dimension? Do you want to connect with your higher self and your spirit guides and your angels and just get a break from this crazy, tense experience called life right now? But you're having no luck. In fact, are you starting to feel like the only experience I'm having if I go inside feels like a squirrel's loose in a cage inside my head and my body, and I just feel like I can't relax. I'm so agitated. Everything's so reactive. I just can't seem to get a break. Well, my name's Sonia Choquette. We are going to be continuing to talk about how to connect with your spirit guides, how to get guidance, and not just sit on the sidelines and watch it come through for everyone else. So if you're new to my channel and you just got here, I think your spirit guides brought you here. Imagine that. And if you've been with me for a while, welcome back. Today, we are going to talk about something super important when it comes to being guided, which is how guidable are you? Now, the truth is, we are in the midst of a huge transition, and nobody can deny it. This planet does not feel that great right now because it's in a new vibration. It's not familiar. We are moving up, and it's like being in, kind of in free fall. It's in this energy that's not predictable, and we don't know what's safe and what's good. And if we get in our heads, it's awful. And if we get in other people's heads, it's worse. So we are growing, but we have to grow in a way that makes us available to guidance. It's not like we just dial up a pizza and Elvis shows up with a memo and tells us what to do. We have a lot of unrealistic role models and expectations of guidance. It's not something we're familiar with. We don't know quite how it feels, or is it guidance? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, the first thing is to understand getting spirit guidance is that spirit guidance speaks to your spirit. It doesn't speak to your ego. It doesn't speak to that part of you that feels so crazy and anxious and scared and suspicious and unsafe, which is the predominant feeling for a lot of people, even the positive ones, because the vibration of the planet's in flux right now. So we have to start, the first channel to change is we have to recognize that guidance speaks to my spirit, so I have to become connected to my spirit. Do I have any sense that I am a spirit in this body, having this incredible experience, on this journey, having this adventure? It's not my ego, it's not my history, it's not my family. Okay, those things have influenced me, but I'm more than all of that. My spirit is my nature, my life force. So the very first thing to get guidable and to connect with your spirit guides is to connect with your spirit. And I'm going to ask you even right now to put in the comments, to think about it, to reflect, to recognize your spirit. What kind of spirit are you? Describe your spirit, that true nature. Am I creative? Am I a leader? Am I a space holder? Am I a healer? Am I here to nurture? Am I here? And to understand your spirit, go to that part of you that loves to do whatever you're doing. Do you love to teach? Do you love to read? Do you love to write? Do you love to garden? Do you love to help people? Do you love to create, to sing? Do you love to create beauty? Do you love to sew? Do you love to go for long walks in nature? Do you love long trips? I mean, these are just some suggestions about what do I love? Because whatever you're loving, it's your spirit that's loving it. So that's the first connection to make to be guidable and to work with your spirit guides. Is they're not going to talk to that left brain. That is not guidable, especially now because the ego brain in all of us is feeling very uncomfortable, very unsafe, highly defensive. It's like hunker down and put your guard up because things are changing, and that means I'm in trouble. Doesn't mean you're in trouble. It means the ego's in trouble. And the trouble the ego's in is that you have to give up control. So getting connected to your spirit is going to help you get connected to and start experiencing spirit guidance. So do write in the comments, because the minute you start acknowledging your spirit, you're starting to change and get to the place where you do receive guidance, which is here. It's in your body. And it's not just in your heart. We receive guidance in our guts. We receive guidance in our heart. We receive guidance in our energy. It's like our skin. We receive guidance because we're receiving and experiencing energy that is communicating. And if we're not distracted by our noisy, what I call the squirrel racing around in your brain, making all kinds of ruckus, you can perceive guidance because it's subtle. That leads me to the second point, which is this. We've been led to look for guidance or expected to show up in some super exaggerated, dramatic ways. It's like, no, Elvis is not going to show up with a pizza and say, glad you called, okay? Your guardian angel is going to swoop in with a 20-foot wingspan and a lot of celestial harps behind it. Maybe in your dream state. And in case, pay attention if that happens. But daily guidance, spirit guides, get to us in subtle whispering messages. And you know what? You're getting them. But here's the question. Are you listening? Because our spirit guides help us first and foremost. It's like begin at the beginning. Your very first spirit guided messages are going to be about how to take better care of yourself, how to make your physical experience, for example, better. Because if your experience in physical body is uncomfortable, you're going to be distracted. How to do little things that ease that critical mind that you've been so conditioned to listen to. So the guidance you might be getting right now won't be with a lot of fanfare, but it will be quiet and consistent, and it will be making a suggestion that you can choose to listen to or ignore. And if you ignore it, you're not going any further. You've made the choice, I don't want guidance. So, are you getting guidance, for example? Go outside, go for a walk. Maybe don't eat so much meat or drink more water, or maybe you don't want to get high again. Maybe you just want to go be in nature, connect with someone, or sing and use that beautiful voice you have, or take some time off and be quiet and nurture your spirit. It's empty. These are the kinds of things that your initial spirit guidance is giving you. It's just simple little suggestions that will make huge differences. But here's the deal. So many of us are getting guidance all the time, and we are choosing to ignore it. Even by writing in the comments what your guidance is giving you now will change everything because it turns the system on. Guidance is like a radio broadcast, and your consciousness and your awareness is the receiver. Are you consciously available to receive, or are you going to keep it shut off? When you start listening to little guidance, a bunch of things happen. You start to put into place the system that will allow you to be really guided from the fifth dimension, because you start to be congruent. You start to dial into that channel of the heart, and it gets quiet. Your mind goes quiet, but it's not going unconscious. It's getting alert. It's listening. And you will feel reassured, because once you start following your own guidance, you start to trust yourself, your true self. And from that comes a tremendous healing, a tremendous shift. You start to feel safe. Can you imagine? And then you start to connect with the universe, and then you start to have the synchronicities and the surprising, joyful, right place, right time experiences, which is phase 2 of getting guidance. But phase 1 is you got to want it. You got to be guidable. And if you're getting subtle, little, simple guidance, which is where it always begins, and quite honestly, guidance will never be truly complicated. How your spirit guides speak to is going to be communicated in whispers, simple impulses, bright ideas, but there's not going to be a lot of conversation with your intellect, okay? Next, when you start listening to the little guidance, say thank you. Follow it and say thank you, and then the heart opens. I've had people comment on my videos saying, you talk about the fifth dimension, it's not about stuff, it's about love. You know what? We are in the physical earth to learn to be creators. Doesn't matter what we're creating. Or we can create a little garden, or we can create $1 million. Doesn't matter. We're here to create. but we create from the heart. And we're not going to go be loving everyone else if we're not listening to the inner guidance that allows us to love ourselves. So begin at the beginning and no, you have to this and that, because we have to stop yelling at ourselves and stop yelling at each other. Let's just start being kind, loving, listening, and available spirits. And with that, you will be given the guidance. But it's not going to come in an 8-page memo. It's going to come in a whisper. Go outside. Go down the street. I have a client who said, I was so wanting to be in a new relationship, and I hadn't been in 10 years. And I kept asking for guidance on how to be in a relationship. And all I ever got was get a dog. And I would be angry, like, oh, great, that's going to be my big relationship, get a dog. Well, after a long enough time, I did get a dog. And with that dog came walking the dog. And so I started going to the neighborhood dog park where other people with dogs would show up, and I made friends. And after showing up at the dog park for 2 years, I actually met another dog owner who is now my boyfriend. So go get a dog. You have to get a dog and then go to the dog park, and in 2.5 years, you're going to meet the right person. And that's what our egos want. It's like, give me the whole thing. Give me the whole architecture. But that's not guidance. It's one step at a time. If you say yes to one step, it'll take you to the next. Go to the dog park. Don't just walk your dog around the block. Guidance number 2. Go to the neighborhood dog park. Guidance number 3. Make friends with the people there. Guidance number 4. Be available. But got the dog, open the heart. That was step 1. So that's how guidance works. I have another client who wanted to write TV shows. And he said, I write these scripts, they keep getting rejected. And he got the guidance to join a comedy club. He said, I'm not that funny, I'm not that spontaneous, but he got the connection, he got the direction, join a comedy club, go join improv comedy club. And you have to get over all these objections. That's another thing about guidance. You might get something that your ego says, no way. I would be embarrassed, out of control, and out of my element. But when he got to the comedy club and he did join the beginner class, even though he didn't think he was funny, he was witty. And all of a sudden, instead of being the big comedic performer, he discovered he was the comedic writer. And so he got connected with other people, and he realized that what he wanted to do was be on a writing team. And now he has a writing job, writing speeches, writing comedy, entertainment with 2 writing partners. So that's the other thing about guidance. You'll get a simple statement, but your ego will probably want to argue with it, especially if it presents to you to do something that feels out of character for your ego. It does. When I first wanted to write a book, this was really 35 years ago, I wanted very much to write a book. And my ego said, well, you're too young, nobody's going to believe you. This is when everybody was very suspicious of developing our inner senses. So I wrote a book, being very ego-driven. And I wrote. And in that book, I didn't write one thing about me. I was protecting my ego. I didn't want to be criticized. I didn't want to be outed, exposed. And that whole thing just went into the garbage. Nobody wanted to read it. So then I asked, what can I do? And my guide said, just teach. Just start in your own living room. Teach classes. And I started teaching classes in my living room. And believe me, that was pretty bold because my living room was a studio apartment and I didn't have any furniture. So I asked my students to bring a pillow to sit on. Well, over the course of those years, I started having local students in Chicago. And one of those students was a beautiful and creative woman named Julia Cameron, who at the time was a writer at Northwestern and taught writing. And she asked me to teach her. So I wrote her how to be intuitive. I wrote to her on how to be guided, and she took everything I wrote, helped me compile it, and then took it to her agent, and that became my first book. I never got, you need to do this, and you need to do that. I just got teach, and just keep teaching. So the whole thing unfolded without me ever getting guidance to do this, and this, only just the next thing. Who knew? I didn't even know any of this. It just came to me. So that just says your figure out brain overworks and has bad ideas. Listen to your guidance. So that's the next thing. If your heart is neglected and you're beating yourself up and you're in your head, you're not going to get guidance. You have to be kind and loving and interested in your spirit and feed your spirit. Feed your spirit. So what does that mean? What makes you happy? What do you love? What makes you laugh? What helps you play? Your ego says, who's got time for that? And it keeps you locked in the squirrel cage. What feeds your spirit? Might just be, I look out on the garden every day. It feeds my spirit. I play with my granddaughter. It totally feeds my inner child because I'm playing as much as she is. I'm not caretaking her. We're playing. That feeds my spirit. Creating feeds my spirit, whether I'm creating a class or I'm creating a video or I'm creating a book or I'm creating a meditation. I love it. My spirit is the creator. So what feeds your spirit is letting your spirit be the creator. And then let's talk about tools, beginning. If you're guidable, if you're willing to receive something that your ego might argue with, if you're willing to say yes to those little baby steps, the guidance will get bigger. So one of the tools, and I've been talking about this for a while, is oracles. Oracles, consider them like it's like a direct dial to the subtle realms, and it just gets you right there because it doesn't talk to the brain that blocks all the guidance. Oracles are images and beautiful, simple messages that take you to the right brain, to the heart brain, and to the available self. That's where the guidance comes in. I've made many oracle decks, and I was raised on oracle decks, and I've learned to talk to spirit through oracle decks because it cuts through the noise of the crazy squirrel in the cage. So my most recent oracle deck I've shown you, let me show you again. This is my Ask Your Guides oracle deck, and it's one of many, and they're all great. But this I'm excited about because it speaks to the times now. I'll show you how to use an oracle. You don't have to use mine, but this particular oracle deck is very, very effective. So the first thing to do is, am I in my heart? Am I available? Just take a breath. Oh, hand on heart. Name and be aware of your spirit. My spirit is going to guide me. My spirit guides my angels, my helpers, everything in service to my growth, to my evolution, to my well-being. And my ego doesn't have all the answers, so that part has to be quiet. Then you can shuffle like this back and forth. The reason I like to shuffle if you're going to use an oracle deck, because it's a simple beginning, makes it real easy to get guidance that you can't say I'm missing. And when you shuffle, you're using both hands. You go left, right, and that kind of equalizes and calms everything down. And I'm going to do this, like today. I'm going to pull a card. Now, first, look at these cards. Like I said, it could be any deck you want, but look at this beautiful, beautiful colors. Just takes you to possibility. Just takes you out of all that figure it out. Just puts you in wonderland, okay? So I wonder what the guides are going to offer me. It's a suggestion. It's just, do you want to do this? This is what you can try. So I'm going to ask, we all came here together. We're all at this particular point in time. So what is the guidance for us now as a first step to start being guided and connect with my guides? So then you take your hand and you let your hand feel something. So I'm going to pull a card, and this will be our collective first step. So the card I pulled, if you can see this card, isn't that beautiful? It's life force. That is what your spirit is. So it's saying exactly what I've been saying. But who are the guides? Who are the helpers? The joy guides. It says joy guides. So you have guides who are going to help you fill up your spirit, express your life force, and be joyful. Now that really is an energy that not a lot of us are experiencing right now. So we ask the joy guides. They've given you instruction. Okay, we're here to help you, but you have to choose one thing that your spirit enjoys and do that. Could be listen to a piece of music, turn on some music and dance, plant a garden, learn a new recipe, call your best friend from college, empty your closet and donate everything. One thing you enjoy, because that's how guidance works. You have to be in your spirit. You have to shut off that brain. You have to open your heart. And if you want to start receiving direct guidance and you don't want to get stuck in, is it guidance? Isn't it guidance? Name it when you get it. Put it on here on my comments. What is my guidance right now? And then you've been given guidance today to connect with your life force, your spirit, the life, the energy that gives you life, and do something you enjoy and see what happens. One thing. Don't ignore it. Don't go, yeah, on, next. Because that's a choice. And if that's the choice you make, then don't complain about not getting guidance. If you make the choice, who knows where it's going to lead? Teaching classes led me to teach a student who helped me then turn around and get a book published. I didn't even know how to do it. I never even presented a book to a publisher. It was taken on my behalf. Miracle. But I taught classes because that's what I was told to do. So what I invite you to do is one thing you enjoy and see where it takes you instead of ignore it. And notice before I finish how it puts you back in connection with your authentic self, which leads to peace, leads to confidence, leads to clear mind, leads to more relaxation, leads to beginning to trust yourself, leads to a connection with your spirit, leads to more guidance from the higher self, more guidance from the fifth dimension, and a more miraculous life. So thanks for listening, everybody. So excited to have you here. We're going to continue to learn how to work with the guides, and we'll have more and more instruction as my teacher spirit guides come through me to you. And let's all keep doing this more and more and more till we are comfortably guided in the fifth dimension. See you next time. All my love.